Welcome back to HeroQuest fans. It's your host Kurgan on twitch.tv/HeroQuest fans. Thanks for joining us. We are live on Twitch right now. If you're listening to us or watching on YouTube, we're not live, but thanks for your support all the same. The music you're listening to is created with the assistance of AI from Suno.com, arranged by me this year. We like it because it's free. And of course, it's good to be back. I know that we've had to cancel a lot of streams lately, a lot of family events and things going on this summer. So thanks for continuing to support us and tune in from time to time to see if we're back, because we are back for now. This weekend, the plan is to stream, of course, against the Ogre Horde today. We're getting started just a few minutes late. Call for heroes, as always. And then tomorrow, Saturday the 19th, we're going to be streaming from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time with Jungles of Delthrak. Next weekend, the plan is to just stream like normal, 25th and 26th. Also on the 22nd of July, the Rantcast podcast is scheduled to come back with the Strange Bus on twitch.tv/TheRantcast podcast. But I want you all to know that the following week, the end of the month, of course, Gen Con is coming up. So probably will not be streaming. I won't be streaming anything on Tuesday the 29th unless Strange Bus wants to do something himself, because I'll be on the road and I got to get up early traveling to Indianapolis. And then on Friday and Saturday, the 1st and the 2nd, are Gen Con. Now, I really want to be able to report, do some live reporting, or at least close to live as we can, because supposedly you can't live stream at the conference. But who's to say you can't just like step out into the lobby and start live streaming? But we'll be doing our reports, so I'll be there. Ribby, Angus, Amalgamash is supposedly going to be there, last I heard. Sika Shem, several people from our community are going to be at Gen Con, specifically with the goal of reporting HeroQuest news and so forth. Probably Talisman news and whatever other games we can get our hands on or hear from. The latest is Joe Manganello is going to be there. There's going to be actually a seminar, a 2-hour seminar on that Thursday, which is free, but I'm having some trouble getting some tickets, so I want to thank Rob Champ. Oh, he's going to be there too. Got me a ticket. So we can ambush... not really. We're going to ambush Joe with questions. It's him and it's 3 other developers, I think, just or game designers talking about their stuff. I'm only interested in Joe's stuff, and only because of COPD, honestly, if I'm being honest. But we'll see what happens. I didn't attend any of the seminars before, but I guess that's kind of a, it's a little extra thing. You get to meet the designer of a game you're interested in, or a game that you like. That's really cool. I kind of prefer the informal thing. I mean, if they're just hanging around, you could just kind of chat with them, maybe get a picture for fun, get an autograph. But this is a much more formal thing, and this was added more recently from Avalon Hill. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, we'll do our reporting. So that at the worst case scenario, we'll do our reporting that evening from the hotel. But we'll probably be posting pictures, video clips on Discord, if we can put stuff on YouTube. Last year we had some issues getting the stuff posted in a timely manner, but at least you won't have to wait a week for us to all get back home to post it. I know Ribby was really good with posting stuff right away because he actually had data, but this time I have data too, so we'll both be doing it. So yeah, so Ribby, Angus, Rob Champ, Sika Sham, Amalgamash, Angus. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but there's a few other. There's like maybe up to a dozen people I recognize from the community that are planning to be there. So that's really cool. Yep. So be watching for that. But anyway, as a result, we're probably not going to be doing live streams. I don't know if like our regular stream game. I mean, we do have people bringing HeroQuest. I don't know, maybe we could do something special, like try to do some kind of live stream of a game from the conference or the hotel, but we'll just see how that happens, how that plays out. But at the very least, you'll be getting news reports. Hey, Gold Public. Well, that's the question. I know we've been gone for a while. People made other plans, so I am kind of questioning, do we have heroes tonight? I see Proxy Maiselman is here, and Zargon goes on and on. He's played with us before. Well, if anyone is interested in taking control of a hero, the usual is... Well, I should check my sound here, actually. I was going to say, the usual thing is to go to the HeroQuest Fans Discord, as you see on your screen there. Go to the voice channel known as Quest Talk. Introduce yourself. We'll get you going, even if you've never played before, even if you don't have HeroQuest at home. We'll get you going. It's pretty easy. And if you want to influence the quest as we play, you can use your gold coins, your channel points, in the live Twitch chat to influence the game, either for Zargon or the heroes, or both. Some of you people play both sides. Twitch chat. Okay, it looks like our sound is working fine. Good. But yeah, the plan is we're streaming this weekend, we're streaming next weekend, but the following weekend, so the beginning of August, we will take that weekend off from official game streams. Again, unless we can work up some kind of crazy, camera at the table with all of us sitting down and playing, but our usual setup probably will not work. It requires a little bit too much preparation on the fly. I was even thinking, like, while we're waiting in line to exchange some of our tickets, because we do still have to exchange some, we could be playing HeroQuest like in line. So we would need the companion app, which is limited, of course, but we could have the companion app on somebody's phone. We could have a dice tray and a deck of treasure cards, and we could have character sheets, maybe like a clipboard, so you can write it. You got to write it on the guy's back. Yeah, but we could play a HeroQuest quest in line. That's if the line's really long. I mean, if it's just 15 minutes or something, probably wouldn't get through a game, unless it's like an arena battle, which would be crazy. Oh no, you can't do arena battles in the app. I forgot. You can only do the first 3 quests of Against the Ogre Horde. That's it. You can't do like the custom arena, because it only lets you play the official quests out of the book. All right, well, I'll just put this out here. If anybody is hearing me live, wants to control a hero, come on in, because at the moment we don't have any heroes. I know Jacer almost always joins us just a little bit later because of his work schedule. But yeah, okay. Well, maybe we can't start right away, but I can always chat for a bit. Yeah, my opinion on Joe Manganiello's quest. I mean, I have a lot of questions for him, and then maybe it's stuff that he won't be allowed to talk about. Manganiello's quest. I mean, I have a lot of questions for him. I'm hearing some echo. Zargon goes on and on. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hey, are you adventuring with us today?
Yeah, I thought I'd jump in.
All right. Well, that's all we need. Great. How have you been?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, I went through a whole bunch of personal stuff, but I think things are calming down a little bit now, so now I'm just looking forward to the convention, and it's good to be back on the stream.
Yeah. That's life, though, that's things happen, but then there's always something on the horizon to look forward to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always social things and stuff like that. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean...
So when it...
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on.
No.
No, I was saying, how long is it till Gen Con now?
Well, let's see. Today's the 18th. $12 days. Or no, 13 days. It's actually on the 31st, but I'm leaving home like 2 days before that. Like right when I get off of work. I'm hoping I'll have all my stuff packed and I can I'm gonna like drive part way, stay with some family, and then the next day head out, drive straight through, check into the hotel, and then the next morning, bright and early, because you don't want to get up late because of the parking situation. I guess Sika Shem was saying like he changed his hotel and like now he's like just within blocks. He's gonna be jogging up there while we're driving in. But I don't mind the drive. But yeah, basically it's less than 2 weeks away. So pretty excited.
Brilliant. Yeah, and you've got most of your orcs ready for the tournament, I see, as well.
Oh yeah, that's been the big project that's been keeping me going. It's funny when you're distracted by other things. You're stressed out, you're worried about people, but it's like the hobby can be a way to just kind of decompress that a little bit and do something normal. Technically, I have all the orcs that I need for the 40K tournament, but
Nice.
there's like 5 units that I feel are very plain and I want to paint more onto them. I mean, they're technically table ready, but they're not up to my standards. So, I mean, nobody's going to know but me, right? But still, I want to keep working on them. And there's a whole side project. Before I got involved in this whole tournament thing, I was going to paint, there's like 10 Eldar that I was going to add to my Space Crusade like proxy project. Those guys are not done.
Yeah.
Those guys are not done. But technically I could assemble them and I think like do one pass. So they're just blue right now and they have yellow heads, but some of their armor is supposed to be yellow. I mean, I'm going with the color scheme on Eldar Attack. So if I do like one pass with painting the yellow details, I think they'll look all right. So if I have time, I'm going to try to do that.
I remember having the Eldar Attack game. Is that an expansion for Space Crusade?
Absolutely. Yep. I was really lucky to get that at a reasonable price from Board Game Geek. Really cool.
Yeah,
guy sold it to me. Yeah.
They were cool. The Eldar.
Oh yeah.
A lot of this were cool in that. Even they were like robot skeletons, Necrons, I think they're called, or something.
Yep. Although in Space Crusade they were called androids. I have plenty of those. I have plenty of those. Those guys are ready to go. So even though I have Space Crusade, a vintage box of Space Crusade, and I have StarQuest, the German version, I can't bring myself to like paint the vintage figures. I was like, just want to keep them the way they are. So I was like, well, I know, I'll proxy a set using like modern Warhammer stuff, 40K stuff. But the problem is, like, even though I've looked for deals, it's still like very expensive. So I'm not saving any money by doing that. Like, you're better off just buying a vintage set.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if they'll ever release that game, Space Crusade.
I would love that so much. I remember talking with N. Carmine when he was back with Avalon Hill, and he was saying the biggest problem was the licensing. So
yeah,
I guess
Games.
Yeah, it's Games Workshop. So, but I was thinking. I mean, I'm not like a legal expert, so probably somebody in the industry would like laugh at me for my naivety. But my thought was, okay, the deal that Games Workshop and Hasbro worked out with HeroQuest was they basically just let Hasbro have everything. It was like the only caveat is remove the explicit references to Games Workshop's Warhammer Fantasy. But even there, they kind of just changed the names. So instead of the Sea of Claws, it's the Sea of Talons. It's like, we know exactly what you're talking about. Like, it's not any surprise. So
yeah, there's lots of slight changes that they made that made it so it's not exact copy, but it is pretty much it's the same.
Yeah, it ends up looking like an official tribute game, but I mean the game mechanics are exactly the same. So, well, looking at I've said this before, so it's nothing new. You probably heard me say it too, but I mean, StarQuest, the German version from 1990, same year. They used all the same assets, but they just changed the names. So instead of the Space Marines, they were the Galactic Security Group, GSG. And they don't mention the Emperor, but I mean, they still talk about warp space, and they changed the names of the monsters, so they're Robotlings and Gridlings and stuff, but clones instead of Gene Stealers. So you would think Hasbro could release StarQuest today. Like, maybe just change the designs a little bit. But what N. Carmine was saying is, but would people recognize it as Space Crusade? You know what I mean? Like, would they just ignore it because they don't know what it is? Would it kill the nostalgia too much to do that?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing they could do is, well, the deal that they did with HeroQuest was basically to hand everything back to Hasbro. I mean, Hasbro bought back the license from Chaosium that had lapsed and all that stuff. So they had everything. They had control of everything. Games Workshop had nothing to do with it. Now Games Workshop has Warhammer Quest, but that's their own basically tribute to Advanced Hero Quest that they made and went off in their own direction with it. But what if for Space Crusade they did it in reverse? Like Hasbro just signed the stuff back to Games Workshop, so Games Workshop had total control and could just release Space Crusade.
That's a good idea, yeah.
And it could be exactly, they could talk about Chaos Space Marines and, you know, the Emperor and Warp Space and everything exactly. They could use the exact, you know, the right designs. Now, I know there's people that would look at that and go, oh man, but I'm so mad at Games Workshop. I hate them. They're, you know, they always do FOMO and limited release and they always screw everything up and I'm so mad at them. But, I mean, there's people that say that stuff about Hasbro as well. I mean, Hasbro does a lot of FOMO stuff. They screw up a lot of things. They've fired tons of people. So are they a great company? You know, customer-friendly company? Not always.
Yeah. A lot of these successful businesses tend to not be so ethical certain times. Usually that's part of the business side. That, you know, it's not personal. It's business. You know.
Yeah. Sounds like they're mobsters, but yeah, they're very cutthroat, very strong arm. You know, cut corners. Yeah, maybe occasionally dabble in shady things, and it's like, okay, well, if they're the only game in town, do you still support them? I mean, that's up to you, each person.
That's exactly right, and I mean, I think as well with Games Workshop as well, they've got the quality assured, you know, seal of approval on when it comes down to, you know, the miniatures, the setting, the lore behind everything. It's all, you know, you're getting quality for, you know, your money.
Yeah.
Which is what they're banking on, I suppose. They can, you know, do certain dodgy practices, I guess, but, you know, at the end of the day, most people are still going to come to them. You know?
Yeah, that's both a blessing and a curse, because on the one hand, if you've got a very dedicated fan base, like, that's great. They're going to make up for any mistakes you make. But at the same time, like, if you decide to just be crappy, a lot of those people will just support you no matter what. Like, they'll say they're angry, but they'll still pay full price for the product. They'll still buy it when it comes out. And it's like, to me, that sends the company a message saying, we can get away with this. You know, we can take these people for granted. And it's like, that's not. So I think even though it sort of hurts you as a fan to be like, okay, I'm not going to pre-order the stuff. I'm not going to support it. And I'm going to tell people why. Like, I'm not just going to complain. I'm going to vote with my wallet. Like, on the Rantcast, I'm always telling people, you should do that. If you want to see real change from a company, you should do that. Because to me, I mean, I am sort of a brand new Warhammer 40k fan. So I hope people don't think I'm a tourist or anything. But it's like, I feel like, just like Hasbro, Games Workshop does respond to criticism. I mean, they may act like brash and, you know, got the bravado. Oh, you can't tell us what to do. This is ours. We do it. You don't like it. Get it. You know, go away. But in reality, if they start to see their numbers go down, they're going to panic and they're going to make changes. I mean, they'll come part way. So I think people shouldn't underestimate their power to influence as customers.
Well, totally. It's like if, you know, a company does something really bad or they're involved in something and people, you know, boycott them or whatever, then, you know, they're soon making every single change they can to try and, you know, make sure that money starts coming back their way at some point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And
I've seen it.
Yeah, we've both seen. I think anybody listening can attest to that. And I think, you know, people say, well, companies are smart, they know stuff. Sometimes they make dumb decisions, but I think, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but when you get like activism, Like there's activists, they call them like slacktivists. They're like people who will sign petitions and make complaints online, but they won't actually do anything beyond that. They won't buy the product. Or they weren't going to buy the product anyway, so it's kind of like they're not a customer. Or they buy the product no matter what, even though they complain. I think the companies, though, they have the ability to detect the difference between people who are doing that versus people who really are like, I'm not going to spend as much money on this, and their numbers start to go down a little bit, and they go, oh, wait a minute. It's not just a couple of weirdos. It's a big portion of the fan base we're losing, so we better like quickly correct. So I think people should
stop charts going down, and then they're like, okay, now it's time for us to do something about it.
Yeah. Even if it seems like something really silly, like I've commented before on Avalon Hill, like, why does it matter that they say Zargon could do whatever he wants? Like, why even say that? Why not just release the game as it is and just don't say anything? But instead they say, oh, well, here's our new rules, and if you want, you can change it. They say that because there's a lot of HeroQuest players who kind of rely on that, and whenever there's a new rule, they're a little bit suspicious, and they're a little bit like, I don't know if I like that. Like, I've been playing these homebrew rules for 20 years or 40 years, and you're going to introduce a new one that throws my system off? I don't know. But when they say that like token phrase, it kind of appeases them and say, oh, you can do whatever you want. Like, your way of playing is valid. It's good. Like, we still respect you. You're still our valued customer. So those kind of things are important to say.
I've seen Games Workshop even do that. Like, they'll say, as long if it's not an official game, you can do whatever you want with your miniatures and your game at home. As long as it's not in a tournament, you can put whatever you want in your army and paint them however you like.
Yeah, and it's a PR thing, because I've seen that too. I mean, the way you talk to some people, and I think before I got into the hobby, I heard that side was the loudest. It's like, oh no, you can't do that. You've got to use the official model. You can't do that. You got to use the updated rules. Oh, you can't do that. Like, but that only applies to tournaments. Games Workshop themselves have said that, and not just in the old books, but in modern stuff too. It's like, oh yeah, you want to use a proxy figure, you want to 3D print something. Well, Games Workshop doesn't say you can use a 3D print because they don't want you to, but I mean, you can, as long as your other players don't mind.
And there's so many different editions that people play as well. Like, lots of people play, second edition, third edition, whichever. And there's because there's different rules, and some are a bit more geared towards the single heroes. They call it like Hero Hammer, where it's like
epic legendary guys that are like really awesome and kind of direct traffic on their own.
And then, but then it sort of takes away the strategy side of it a bit. That
the army versus army, Well,
you quickly forget about your regiment of spearmen and stuff, and just go, that I'm not really bothered to use my, super hero.
Got to protect this one guy because he's the best. Well, I've done it in a weird way. So I was buying 40K figures, cheap as possible, because I was doing my Space Crusade thing. Well, I get sucked into this idea of doing a tournament, so it's almost like I do have somebody that is going to play me on Monday. We're just going to set up a friendly game. He offered to teach me some strategy, because I'm like, okay, my first game, I don't want my first game to be the tournament itself. Like, I'm going to really get stomped here. but I'm going into it where, I'm starting at the tournament level, and it's like, that's probably not how I would have done it if not for my friend inviting me. I mean, it's been fun, but it's just like, I think the casual game, the friendly game, that's much more my thing.
Oh, totally.
Not just because of cost, but just because it's like, I don't know, it's so technical. I mean, since I don't play war games, I've had to really study this stuff, and like, what do they mean saving throw? What the heck is this? Like, I have to learn all that, learn another language, basically.
It's a lot of number crunching as well.
Yeah.
You just you know, there's bits of that as well, and
Well,
um,
yeah.
getting the tape measure out and making
Yep.
sure everything's facing the right way, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot going on.
I mean, once you get all that out of the way, I could compare it to maybe like the first time you play a Street Fighter game. You're just like, I'm just hitting random buttons. I have no idea what's happening. But after you start to learn, it's like, oh, okay, I can do a 3-hit combo here, or maybe I should do a special move, or maybe I should try to throw the guy, or oh, I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna do, one of these 10 things, and so I'll have to be ready to counter it with this other thing that I got. So then it's
Yeah.
more of a strategy game, and then it would be fun. But you have to get over that hump. You got to get to that through that learning curve. So I'm
Yeah,
thankful that I have a partner who has played the game before, so I'm not just totally on my own.
Yeah, you've got to get the mechanics of the game down first and know how everything works and how to move everything around and this and that.
Yeah. Well, and I'd also heard that even with casual games, there's people that kind of spoil it by having like an absolutely perfect army that no one can beat, and it's just like nobody wants to play them, and it kind of defeats itself. Or you got people that focus on the painting, but they don't really play the game, and it's just like everything in between. So I guess I'll have to tell myself that this experience I'm about to have is not the only way. This is just one way to enjoy the game. So
I think people build armies. The best ones are the ones I think that they've built thematically. Rather than just metagaming and going, oh, if I get this one and that and I combine them, then I'm just going to beat everyone in the tournament. It's good to win, but it's nice to also have fun and make it competitive as well. Otherwise no one else has got a chance. It's not really competitive then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even in the rules that I don't own any of the codexes, well, except for a really, really old one that I was given as a gift a long time ago, which is no longer valid, no longer tournament ready. But the stuff I was reading, they talk about those thematic battles. It's like, oh, so some of the battles aren't necessarily fairly balanced. They're meant to be just like more of a just for fun kind of thing. So you could recreate some battle from lore or some story you invented, and that's in the official text.
You could actually do it so one side's totally outnumbered.
Yeah, asymmetrical.
And and maybe you've got a few elite units where you could maybe win against those numbers, but it's unlikely.
Yeah. Can these guys hold up in this bunker, survive until the cavalry comes or something?
Yeah.
You could just make
stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Jacer, not with Warhammer, but Jacer he's done a couple videos where he's used Battle Masters to recreate some battles that are mentioned in the Hero Quest lore.
I saw the Kellar's Keep.
Yeah, the Kellar's Keep one, and I'm not sure if he did the Ogre Horde one too, but that's another battle you could do, or Blackfire Pass. That's another one that could be done. But yeah, you could have these larger scale battles because we're basically watching a special forces unit, doing secret missions with the heroes through quest after quest. But you could do a battlefield type thing. And using Battle Masters assets is just a cool way because it's the same style and same universe already. But you could use the Old World, you could use Age of Sigmar, you could use Old Hammer.
Yeah. I remember doing that with with Battle Masters as a kid and getting the Hero Quest board and putting it down like next to the Battle Masters board and having something going on, on the board, and then you're having to do something, join the battle.
Nice.
Yeah. With the heroes, like join the battle and try and sway it in one way or the other. But it's brilliant doing stuff like that when you can combine the different things. But I would love to see Battle Masters remake as well. It'd be great.
What do you think of this Battle Monsters thing that they're doing with the like Monarch and Godzilla franchise.
I haven't even seen that. It sounds quite cool, though.
Yeah, it sounds cool to me too, but at the same time, like, it's not what I wanted in the sense that, like, I want Battle Masters to come back too. It'd be like saying, well, Hero Quest is back, but it's Power Rangers Quest or something. It's like, well, okay, but I want Hero Quest.
Yeah, it's not quite what you asked for.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Battle Masters an Advanced Hero Quest, I think, would be a great one as well. But I don't know about that ever being.
Yeah, I think once again it's a case of, do they think it's worth it to sit down at the negotiating table and create a deal just like they did for Hero Quest? I have my suspicions, but I mean, the way it's told officially is that the original team, the Avalon Hill guys, so I guess it would have been Patrick O'Rourke, Chris Nato, Doug Hopkins. I'm not sure who else. Maybe some other people whose names we don't know. Stephen Baker was brought in as basically a guest writer. They brought in Teo Sabadia and Joe Manganiello. But the main guys, they were trying to get Hero Quest to come back. They wanted it to be a retail product all along, supposedly. But their bosses at Hasbro didn't believe it, or were skeptical or something. So they said, well, we're trying to make money with this Hasbro Pulse thing. They just done the Katana with Star Wars. And it's like, okay, well, make it a crowdfund thing. And if it succeeds there, then we'll talk about putting it into retail. So once they proved themselves, then it was a foregone conclusion. Of course we'll do it. But it seems like Avalon Hill just really bet everything on that succeeding. Like, they were already ready to do it. But then why would... I don't know. I guess the Hasbro bosses must have thought, we're going to make so much money on this crowdfunder. It's worth it to make this negotiation with Games Workshop and, put in all this effort to do that. But did Hasbro believe that it was going to go beyond that? Because it seems like a lot of effort just for a one shot. But of course, if they made $4 million from it, I suppose it wouldn't be so bad. Do a limited run thing, because that was the original stretch goal thing. It went up to $4 million, I think, which they didn't quite reach, but they still did it anyway. And then
I think probably
go ahead.
I was saying probably the original plan would have been to do maybe the base game and Kellar's Keep and the Witch Lord, and I think maybe to just leave it at that and see how that went. And then I think when they saw how well that did, they went, oh, we'll try add in the Frozen Horror and the rest of the ones of the America, because that was an American expansion, wasn't it? And Native the Mirror as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and
then
they were selling for hundreds, thousands of dollars on eBay. So I'm sure they didn't even have to investigate whether those were actually popular. It's just they were sought after. They were rare. So it made sense to start there.
Yeah. But I think they'll definitely, after they've done Wizards of Morkor, I think they'll continue. I'm not sure how many after that, but I think there's a good 2 or 3 after that they could still do.
I sort of can imagine it. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I'm getting too excited. Go, keep talking.
No, I was saying the second board I think needs some more quests on it. But then they would have to re-release that board. Not with First Light though. I think to make that work. The second board that we got on the flip side on First Light, the caverns.
Yeah, the caverns from First Light. Yeah. Well,
but at the same time, it's how do they work that?
Right. Well, I can see it from I sort of imagine, and this is just my speculation, my imagination, is from the Hasbro corporate point of view, they don't care as long as they're making money. So for all they care, these expansions come out, they do one print run, and then they just throw it in the trash and move on to the next one. They don't think about continuity or what old fans want. But I think the Avalon Hill people have a proven track record of doing well, and they care about what the fans want. And so whatever way they can, they try to keep in touch with us and get that feedback going and sort of, encourage that word of mouth support. So Patrick and Doug and everybody will continue to figure out ways to keep it working. So I don't know how they would do that. I mean, they didn't want to force everybody to buy First Light, so they weren't going to make quests require the First Light assets, the unique assets from First Light. But I mean, there's ways they could do that. They could, I don't know, they could put the cavern board up digitally, and so you just print out your own copy if you don't have it. I'm just thinking of ways they could do that, or they could include it inside another box. So you buy another box and it has another board that has that same layout.
Yeah.
Something. I mean,
or tiles, maybe.
Or tiles.
Could just
yeah.
Could put tiles to just give it that chasm, that cavern kind of look.
Yeah. There's so many ways they could keep it going, because I think Stephen Baker mentioned this in a couple of interviews. Was at a certain point in time, you just imagine walking into a store and you just see the entire wall lined with all the expansions that are available for HeroQuest, and it's like, first of all, what store is going to want to devote that much space to it unless it's such a hot seller that they can't resist? Like having a Warhammer section in your store, right? Or D&D section. Or it's going to be just intimidating to people. They're just going to see all that and go, whoa, I wanted to get started in this game, and I have no idea where I'm supposed to start. Kind of like people that say, well, should I play, what's the order of the expansions? Even though we know that doesn't matter. But a lot of people are like, well, do I play this first or this other thing? And, what if I start in the middle? Does it broken?
Yeah.
Or I've got to, spend $1,000 on boxes before I can play HeroQuest. And
or I can play it properly. No.
Yeah. I can't use that unless I buy this other thing. It's like, no, actually you can. And the whole spirit of HeroQuest, once they realize what it is, it's like, no, proxying stuff you're expected to do that.
Yeah.
It's not quite like Advanced HeroQuest where, you open the box and half of it's cardboard and it's like, oh, you're supposed to go to the Citadel catalog and start picking out figures to add to this. I mean, everything you need is right there in the box, but just because you're missing one thing doesn't mean it can't work. Like, you're supposed to use your imagination and come up with new stuff, and it works.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've used quite a lot of different proxies. I just see things online. I just got some dwarves with crossbows just to add to, because I was like, I've got elves that are ranged, I've got humans with crossbows, but no dwarves. And I thought, if I'm going to have a dwarf with a mercenary with a crossbow, why not use a dwarf mercenary miniature?
Yep.
It just suits the aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean, maybe your cousin arrives over the hillside with an army of dwarves, and now you have an army. Yeah.
Even things like it's brilliant to add immersion and things like that, or just use PCs as well.
Yeah, it kind of works against them in a way, because HeroQuest is so generic, and it's so appealing to like archetypes of high fantasy stuff or sword and sorcery stuff that you could easily grab stuff from other places. So whatever they create for HeroQuest, they've got to make it in such a way that, it either evokes some nostalgia or it just fits so well thematically that you're going to want to buy theirs rather than just branching out. Different strategy than Games Workshop, where they use the tournament. They hold the tournament above you to get you to keep buying their official stuff. When you could just be a casual player and not even care and not spend a dime. Well, maybe spend some money, but you could make stuff out of paper. You could use old printouts, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes make my own tiles, and and things like that. Just all kinds of little walls and stuff out of polystyrene and all kinds of things that I can find around the house.
Yeah.
You know, I go, oh, use that, and I'll make a door out of it or something, and yeah, they end up looking quite cool.
Yeah. Now the whole building side of things was intimidating to some people too. I mean, I can remember hearing just person after person saying, I can't paint all this stuff. You know, you got to have the orcs green, you got to have the heroes red. Like, save me some time. So Avalon Hill's like, sure, okay, we're doing that.
Yeah, and even the you know, with a lot of the more Warhammer stuff or whatever, just assembling the miniatures, you know, with the super glue, and you're trying to stick everything together and not glue your hands together.
Yeah.
It's just
well,
fiddly.
Very fiddly, yeah. I just did. I assembled Combat Patrol for the orcs. Not the newest Combat Patrol, but the one right before it that didn't have all the beast snagas, but just the regular infantry. And actually, I thought that worked pretty well. It was push fit. It was pretty easy to figure what head goes with what body, with what arms and everything. The only problem was I made the mistake of priming the sprues first, and so the pins are in the holes are made just to fit perfectly. So if there's even one layer of paint on there, it's like they don't fit, and you gotta. So I had to like shave the paint, the layer of paint off of the pegs, and drill into the holes so that it would fit again. That was
okay.
Yeah, but I thought it was pretty easy to assemble versus some other sets of Warhammer sets that I've gotten. I thought the orcs were pretty easy to put together. I mean, you just got a torso, legs, head, 2 arms, slap it on the base. But yeah, some of those figures have so many pieces, especially the large vehicles and things. And you have to look at the diagram and study it. And it's like if you cut the pieces out first before assembling them, you're like, wait a minute, was that 4A or was that 5B? Like, I'm not quite sure which one it was.
I remember having a 40k orc, and it had like a motorbike with a sidecar, and that was a bit of a nightmare to glue together. I would have only been like 10 or 11 at the time.
Oh yeah. But
I can remember spending hours trying to fix this thing together. It was made out of lead as well, so you had to put things next to it so it didn't fall while you're trying to glue stuff and leave it to set. And it's a bit of it was a nightmare, but I did it though eventually.
Yeah, well, I'm
just covered it and looked terrible, but
it would have been interesting so I was not a model builder as a kid. I have several dinosaur kits that my parents got for me that I never did anything with. I think there was one I used like Elmer's glue because I didn't understand you actually got to use like model glue, and it did not hold together, and so I just kind of gave up. But I still have the kits, and I'm like, oh man, one of these days. So I think I primed some of my old dinosaurs, and I haven't done anything more, but at some point I'm gonna try to actually make them into something that looks cool. Maybe I'll get
use them for prep.
Oh, like put them into the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe I'll get my niece and nephew involved in that. I've had some fun painting miniatures with them. Like we just sit down and paint some stuff.
Yeah, it's always good. Get them involved and get them off the screens, because kids nowadays, all the time, it's hard to get them off the Roblox or whatever game it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they're missing out on a whole world. Well, Bohemius, don't mean to keep you waiting there. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
Hey, we're back. How have you been?
Well, I'm very good. You?
Good. Well, things are getting back to normal. Well, a little bit back to normal, so I'm glad to be back. And I reopened the Arena Challenge, so I see you've contributed. Thank you for that. And Rob Champ did too. I don't know if we'll reach 100% anytime soon, but we'll keep at it. So any last, before we get our game going, because now we have 2 heroes, I think that should be enough, unless we get some more people, which we're happy to accommodate. What are your predictions for Gen Con? Do you think we're gonna get Wizards of Morcar or some other big bombshell dropped on us? What about this new seminar with Joe Manganiello and company?
The Wizard Marker, I think, is very okay. The Avalon Hill said that is going to be for the books. This Avalon Hill. Sorry, this Gen Con. Okay, so what they meant in English, I don't know. Okay, you get lost in translation, but I guess it's something huge. So they're going to present something for sure.
One for the books is a phrase meaning it's going to be so memorable people are going to remember it. So
yeah, I try to go by logic, yes. So I understand correctly. So they meant I believe they're going to present something for each one of their games. So we already know they're going to present for Talisman Nemesis, right? So it's possible they're going to do one for each. And yes, the next in line we already know for the for the previous leaks. I'm talking about the catalog with the price. Wizard of Marker. It should be this year. It should be released this year. So for Christmas, maybe we're going to have it.
Well, but they don't do Christmas releases, do they? It seems like they just skip right over and go to January.
They don't like it, but there's a Game Spiel release, so we can hope for that.
So either we get it in November or we get it in January. Is my thought.
I don't have my paper right now. Remember, I got always my calendar. Let me check. There you go. So, yeah, if they present it in Gen Con, like we think is going to be, is going to be then open the pre-release in Spiel. So it's going to arrive probably at the beginning of the year, next year.
So or just an announcement,
or just the
image, and then boom, there it is.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Rob won't be joining us this time. That's all right. Yeah, and I'm wondering about the whole Joe Manganiello thing. Like, I have such a mixed kind of view on him because on the one hand, like, I don't follow him as an actor, so I don't care about that. But I know he's used his celebrity to, help the cause, right? Help the franchise. So that's a good thing. And we've played his expansion, and it was all right. It wasn't anything super amazing. He has kind of he has a big, excited, like, little kid kind of enthusiasm. Like, I'm going to put something really cool in HeroQuest. And it's like, I love that energy, So I guess my questions for him are going to be more, if I got the chance to ask him a question, it would be more along the lines of, like, inside baseball, like stuff he probably wouldn't be allowed to talk about if he even knew, which was, what was the deal that he signed with Avalon Hill? What was the plan? Like, and how did the plan change from the beginning when he first got involved to now when we have the retail release? Was he involved in any of the compromises they had to make with the new set? Did he have any say in that? I suppose on Thursday in the afternoon we'll already know, did they make any other changes to the quests, and why or why not? I'd want to know all those things, but for all we know, it'll just be, stories, fluff stories, saying about how great it is to work with such talented people. You know how people say, they only say nice things because it's a sponsored, it's advertising, right? I want to know the dirty secrets and all that stuff. But I don't know. Do you think they'll say anything like that off the record?
I believe his deal was the he wanted to do the things in his way. Okay, so they give him carte blanche,
Creative control.
so open to create control on the with the mythic let's say assets. So, but for sure, he asked for the dragon. We know that already, right? Because he insisted. It's like the Star Wars level is like something that is peculiar, particular for something that is going to be remembered always, like the dragon made by Joe Manganiello.
Yeah. Even though fans done dragons, he had the official one.
Yeah.
There was a dragon.
We know already, because when they did the first light, they didn't use the same sculpt, so they're clearly two different dragons.
And that was Max Dunbar dragon art. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Okay. So because he says I worked with Max Dunbar to create this. So maybe Max Dunbar is there at the sketching, and Joe is standing behind him with a cup of coffee, saying like, "Ooh, make the wings bigger."
Dressed like a dragon.
Yeah.
He's dressed like a dragon.
He's posing. He's posing. He's wearing like a Halloween costume. And Turn your head more. Imagine. Turn your head more. Okay, there you go. All right, perfect.
Joe, so he's hugging the column of his house.
Yeah, it's like I need a rest. I'm gonna fall off of this thing. All right, give me 5 minutes. Prima donna actors. Oh man, so demanding. Yeah, could just imagine. We poke fun at him, but I mean, we're still
take a picture now.
Yeah, take it. Hurry. Yeah. Well, and then I could just imagine, Doug is sitting there next to him at the table, and he grabs the microphone away. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he got insight on other projects. He was
just his own.
They called him for that one.
Yeah. In reality, I don't expect him to say anything more. It would be nice if we could hear more about that kind of thing. But yeah, he just knows what he did, and maybe they've given him some talking points, like, okay, you can talk about this, but that's nothing else.
But you can really see the influence of Dungeons and Dragons in that expansion, because it's structured like Dungeons and Dragons dungeon will be. So too many. I don't want to spoil it. Too many dead and
his quests seem a little bare. They'd seem a little bare, and I guess somebody on Yield In posted a way to adapt HeroQuest to Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and I've just been kind of curious about the whole thing. If we know Joe is a big D&D fan. I mean, he was on Critical Role the first season. I looked it up. Even though it was a show I didn't watch, but he's still involved, and even though he jokingly said that he'd broken up with D&D on Stephen Colbert's show, but I mean, it would be interesting to play his quests using the D&D rules and see maybe how differently. Maybe it would work better as a D&D adventure, like you suggest. But somebody came up with a way to do it, so. Maybe at the convention, somebody can grab him and say, "Hey, run the quest as you would in D&D." He's like, "Oh, gotta go. Security, get me out of here. These fans are nuts." But supposedly there'll be I think they said a 45-minute talk, and then they're gonna have time for questions afterwards. But of course, there's 3 other designers, which no offense to those people, I'm not really interested in. But I'll go there for Joe and what he says about HeroQuest.
I have also the feeling that he put like a cameo of himself in the second to last mission against that boss.
You see, I'm always wondering about cameos too, but you get the cameos more than I do. Very few of them are ever admitted to. I could say, is that Doug on the cover? Oh no, of course not.
You can ask him that.
Yeah.
Who's the character? Is it you? Is it what inspired that character?
Right. I'd like to hear him give some snarky answer that doesn't exactly deny it, but or just yeah, it's definitely me. His name is Gary Stew. It's like, how'd you guess? Okay, so the quest you're talking about is the Throne of the Death Knight. Oh. Kedrick Gilbane. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds like kind of a heavy metal thing that he would go
Exactly. Just because he's how you say, it doesn't fit. It's there, like it doesn't fit with the story.
He just
So
barged into his
he's
own.
there for some reason.
Yeah, maybe.
That could be one of his D&D characters that has been made a little.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Well, when I first played HeroQuest back in the day, in the 1990s, I didn't know what Warhammer Fantasy was, so I didn't get any of the references. But similarly, I mean, I have D&D 5e. A friend gifted it to me, but I've never played it. I mean, I played Star Wars Saga Edition, which is based on 5e, but so yeah, if you made some insider reference to Critical Role or Dungeons and Dragons, I wouldn't get it. It would go right over my head for sure. So that'd be a good question to ask. Yeah, in some ways, I feel like this Gen Con, from the outset, it sounds like there isn't really much that we're going to learn. Like, again, we're hoping for them to just drop the bomb on us and show us Wizards of Morkar. But I mean, we have a new quest, but I mean, it's from First Light. So what more could it really do? I mean, that would be underestimating Stephen Baker, because he has a lot of creativity, of course. But it just seems like there isn't as much new things to get excited about. So I hope I'm really wrong about that. I hope that we do get a glimpse of many new things. Because if what some people are speculating is correct, and the company's going through a rough patch and they're just kind of doing the best they can to kind of hang on, I mean, that's kind of rough. I mean, we had those layoffs. Sorry, it sounded like you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was saying go on, sorry.
No, just parenthesis. Just also this 6 month of delay on everything.
Delays. Yeah.
I reckon though, if they're saying it's going to be one for the books, then there's got to be something where it's going to be slightly monumental, unless they're just blowing smoke.
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, there have been instances of them saying stuff about conventions, and it turns out not to be true. But
yeah, major announcement, and then it's like they've got some new dice or something.
Yeah, I don't care about the new dice. I mean,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. If they are, giving us Acid Skull dice as a giveaway to go with Joe's pack, I'll take it. I won't pay extra for it, but I'll take it if it's a freebie.
Freebie, yeah.
Yeah, like if you buy it at the convention, you get a sample or something.
Oh, totally. Or even if they put like new dice in a new expansion, I'm cool with that as well, like they did with the Frozen Horror. But yeah, I won't go out my way to get new dice, or I won't see it as a big monumental.
I like dice. I like that they have other types of dice, but so far I just haven't been impressed with the designs they've come out with, and they're too expensive for just what they are to me. I know to some other people that's no big deal, but to me it's like, if you're gonna give me the dice for free, if you're gonna include them in the set anyway, that's cool, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy some dice that I'm not gonna use. Rob just had a go ahead with your thought, and then we'll look at Rob's comment.
I would get more excited over even if they did like new minis, but they're just different sculpts of, for different sculpt of
Yeah.
an orc or a goblin.
Variants.
But
I'd love that.
yeah, to switch it up slightly.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, just dice alone, it doesn't really, excite me. Even cards would be good. Even just a new set of
Yeah.
items,
Let's give us a
gold treasure.
box of these
Yeah,
alchemy cards or something. Yeah, I don't mind the idea, and maybe that's a direction they would go if the tariff situation and staffing cuts. Maybe they would gravitate towards more smaller packs instead of the big packs. Maybe they would just give us decks of cards, individual characters, or sets of squads of monsters, or furniture packs, which is what Covert Nerd and I were talking about years ago, that we thought that's what they were going to do. There's
I think definitely some new furniture, doors and tiles would do wonders for the game. Just definitely double doors as well would be a good thing to the door camping, things like that.
It's all fodder for the imagination. So the more of that kind of stuff they give us, the better. Now, Joe's comment, which could be a fear, is maybe the one for the books is just the fact that Joe's going to be there. Like his star power alone. He's gonna be wearing the dragon costume. He's gonna get up on the stage. He's gonna do like some dance moves. It's gonna be amazing. but nothing monumental for the game. So hopefully that's not all it is. Yeah. Isn't he in a band too? Did I just imagine that? He has like his own like garage band or something that plays heavy metal music. Maybe he'll play a song. He'll get out his guitar. Hero Quest the album. It's real. Not just AI generated, like on Christabel's channel. Guardia de Morcar. What did they call it? I can't remember the name of it. It was like an album, and it showed like the Hero Quest heroes like playing musical instruments, and
I've seen that. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called though.
Like Rock Quest or something.
Like He Rock Quest.
Here Rock Quest. Yeah, something really cheesy. It was so cheesy.
Something cheesy.
But it was fun. It's like that's the kind of thing that fans do when they have nothing better to do. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could go. And then there's the whole speculation that this is the crossover game. It's going to be Talisman or Heroescape or Betrayal or something, or D&D, or maybe it's just going to be merchandise. Maybe they're just going to have more t-shirts and lunchboxes and iPhone cases and stuff with the, Hero Quest branding on it. Which to me, it's like, okay, maybe you get one or two of those things, but it's not going to go far if you don't already have a huge fan base that is looking to buy more stuff. I want more game content.
Yeah.
Because if we're not going to get it from Avalon Hill, we're going to get it somewhere else. That's just what's going to happen. I mean, I'd like to see the stuff come to more stores. I guess that's the other thing. First Light not being a Target exclusive anymore. Seeing some more of those packages come to regular stores. I know Stephen Baker was saying, well, you can't just rely on that because, at a certain point, you just get too many boxes. Stores are not going to put up with it. And these local game shops, they only have so much short shelf space anyway.
Yeah.
So, but still.
Yes. If you want my opinion, okay. What they're trying to do is actually do like but a reprint, of course, what was printed in the past, so everybody can they're going to have all the expansion, European and US. But what they want to do is to do at least the same quantity of expansion original from the Avalon studio. So they already started since the beginning with the in the Mythic campaign. They already start with three. Okay, instantly. So they went ahead because they know if we sell it now, okay, we don't have the problem. Then we have to sell it later. Okay,
Yeah.
and then they have the two the jungle and
Yeah.
the moon, and probably they're going to do maybe another two, and then they're going to decide it's okay, we did enough, because anyway what we need is just the material to for our
Maintain
um,
it.
for our sandbox to be entertained for another 30 years, so
Yeah, it's
we're fine.
okay if they rest on their laurels at a certain point and say, okay, we've got 10 expansions or whatever it happens to be, and we'll just keep those in stock as long as we can, as long as it's profitable, and just expand, just get the word out, get more people, there's kids finding out about HeroQuest every day, get them involved, expand it to other countries, all that stuff. Yeah, they don't have to crank out new content forever. I mean, the fans will do that anyway. Fans will do that
Yeah.
even without their
We
involvement.
just new monsters, okay, and enough to play. Enough to have a box full of monsters with official ruling, so that you can get inspired and put
Oh yeah,
extra monsters in you.
100%. Like they gave us the like the orcs with bows and stuff. I mean, they could continue to do things like that. Give us little variations and then suggestions on how to use them in your pack.
I love what they did spiders in Jungle of Death.
Yeah,
That's scary.
scary spiders. Yeah, creepy crawlies. Well, guys, I know we've been talking, so I'll have to split the video off. It'll be like HeroQuest discussion, HeroQuest talk, which we end up doing that anyway while we're waiting for people. But it looks like you guys might be the only two heroes. Do you mind? You could take control each of one character, or you could do two characters. I don't know.
No problem.
Yeah, 2 characters sounds fine.
Okay. I just need to take a quick break. If you could give me just 5 minutes, but why don't you just tell me which heroes you want to take control of? We could get started here shortly.
Do you want to pick first
Uh,
one, Miss?
you can go first. No problem. I normally pick the druid. So
Yeah.
if you want to try it,
No, I'll go barbarian and dwarf. Just easy character.
so I'll pick what is left. I don't remember which one was the fourth one.
Elf, I think, was the other guy. Elf and
Maybe.
Oh, the monk.
Yeah.
We had the monk last time.
Oh yeah, I played as the monk.
I'll take control of the elf. Glasgow, be happy.
Okay, well, we could start the elf at the door. So which hero are we leaving out? If we give you each two. So we got dwarf.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have the dwarf and the monk then.
Okay.
And
They have the druid and the elf.
Okay. So the barbarian will be left off. Okay, that works.
Yeah. Insert coin.
Yep. Join the action. Those were the days. Okay, let's see. So, if you're taking... Well, I'll do this before the break. When we left Glasgow's elf, he had 300 gold coins. So, Bohemius, this is for you. Alright, so if you're ready, his inventory. He has 2 antidotes, holy water, 3 1d6 healings, a +2 healing. He has a potion of alchemy, potion of recall, 2 magic resistance against damage. That's 2 of those. Potion of Vision. Potion of Strength. Just need to adjust that. Okay.
Okay, and equipment.
Yes. So he's got a toolkit, a warhammer, longsword, shield, helmet, the rallying horn, elven chainmail. He has the artifact known as the elven bracers, longbow, whip, rapier, and yeah, as you can see, he's totally loaded. He's got the ancient staff, which is 3 more uses. He's also got the sky orb that has 3 more uses.
How many uses on the staff? 2?
3.
3.
Yep.
And orb.
Yep.
3.
Okay, and then as far as magic, I've been allowing him 1 spell group of 3, and he can pick 2 from the elf spell group. But I guess theoretically he could have 5 elf spells, according to what I'm doing. So you decide. I think last time he had Earth, as well as Hypnotic Blaze and Flashback. But choose what you will.
Yeah, I'll take the water.
Water, okay.
Yeah. And tough choice because I normally don't play the. So I'm going to take the worst one. I'm going to take Thorn Wood.
Okay, Twistwood, yeah.
Twistwood. And which one was the other one? Was the very bad one?
I'll pull up the sheet here. Okay.
Well, how was the illusion? How was it called? The double.
Oh, double image.
Double image.
So you cast it on the hero.
You're using
causes a lifelike.
The one that transforms
to appear. If an attack against the hero is successful, he rolls 1 red die. On a 1, 2, or 3, the image was attacked and the hero suffers no damage. Spell is broken the moment the hero can no longer see a monster.
You allowed also the one that transforms in a wolf, right?
Oh yeah, for 3 turns. You drop your equipment, but you become, with the powers of a giant wolf. Moontime.
Perfect. We know what with Moontime.
Yeah.
Perfect. You get that one.
Okay,
so try it.
Twistwood and Moontime. All right, Glasgow is going to be. It's like, hey, he didn't show up, so this is what happened. Great. All right, and then do we need any other updates on anything? Dwarf.
I'll need the dwarf stuff. I've got the monk stuff written down on my sheet still.
Yeah, the monk is kind of in a tight spot. Although he can't see any monsters, so at the beginning of his turn, he's going to be recharging all of his styles. So that'll be good for him. Okay, for the dwarf. Okay, so he has 1,650 gold. And potion-wise, he has 2 Wolfsbane potions. That could be interesting. Okay, 2 Wolfsbane, 2 magic resistance.
Jacer is here.
Against all spell effects. Oh, Jacer, he heard we were going to use his dwarf, and he's like, no!
Jace can have the dwarf. That's fine.
Well,
I'll
Jason.
stick to the.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
That'll save me writing out all of the stuff.
All right. Well, now that Jacer's here, if he's gonna take control of a hero, do we still want to do 4, or do we want to just have 3 heroes? I don't know. Up to you guys. You seem kind of excited about the elf there, Bohemius. I don't want to take that away from you.
I can try another day. Don't worry. We play as 3. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. So 3 heroes.
Okay.
Jacer might still be on the road. Okay, so we're just gonna assume for the moment, unless he says otherwise, that he wants the dwarf. Okay, he's typing. Just got home. Okay, well, why don't you guys just give me just like a quick 5-minute break here, and then we'll get started with the quest. So I'm just
Okay.
gonna pause the stream and then I'm gonna restart it.